How to get Shopify page at front page of Google. So in this video, I want to share with you a few tricks that you can do to help increase your chances of ranking higher inside of Google search when people are searching maybe for your product on Google. So everything that I'm going to be sharing with you is very simple, and you'll be able to do within Shopify without having to go out to do on other softwares. So let's start. So the first thing that you're going to want to do, of course, is review and submit your sitemap. To do this, to submit your sitemap, right? So to do this, right, you need to go to Google Search Console, right, and select your property and submit your sitemap, right? So this is very helpful just to give that chance to rank a little bit higher. Now Google Shopify does have a help article I located, right? I'll have this in the link to this in the description below, so you guys can go and check it out. Let me just see, there we go. Okay, right, and it guides you too on how to find your sitemap, which is really important, right? And then how to submit your sitemap to Google Search Console as well, which is very simple and easy. It will take you less than 10 minutes to do. The next thing you want to do, of course, is inside your Shopify store is go to your online store. If you haven't done so, go to preferences, right, and remove the password, right? If you have a plan selected, right, you'll be able to toggle this off, right? So you need to have a plan to toggle this off. This will allow you, of course, for customers to access your store, right, once it's ready to like for the public as well. Number 3 is very important, is make sure the URL structure is clean. So I have an example right here. Let me see if I can get a close up, right? What a good structure looks like, right, is products, men, black t-shirt, right? Super simple, easy, is clean, right? A bad product structure is products and then just like random like keywords typed in, right? So to review to see if your product URL structure is clean, you can actually do this inside of your Shopify account by doing the following. So you could go to products, and then from products, right, we can select this example here, and then if you scroll down, right, you'll see search engine listing. You click the pencil icon, and then from here you'll be able to see the URL handle, right? So it is a clean and good structure, right? So by default, Google Shopify handles this already pretty much, but you just always want to review just to make sure that it is properly set up and it's clean and it's not just messed up keywords, right? So, and if it is, you could just go ahead and click it or make any updates as well, right? So something to take into account, right? So like in this example, I wrote used after, so I probably would update it to include the word used as well, right? So like used, right? And it gives you the change that's doing, right? And then I'll just click save. So now my URL handle for this product, right, it will be used Toyota Corolla 2024 silver, right? It's just a lot more cleaner. The next thing you're gonna want to do is review the robot text file, right? I have a video about this, just to review that's not blocking any important pages for Google to like crawl on your Shopify store, right? So I'll have the link to the video to learn more about where you can find this, which very simple. You could just go to the online store, right? If you don't feel comfortable with coding, right, then I highly recommend you reach out to somebody who knows how to code, right, and a little bit more familiar with it, right? Where are we with my code here? I think I forgot here. Here we go, edit code. Right, so you'll be able to go into the code editor, right, and be able to locate it right here in this area. So a few more ways that you could optimize the SEO inside your Shopify store, right? One of the first things is your titles and descriptions, right? Very important to keep titles under 60 characters, right? And descriptions around 150 to 160, right? You don't want to go too crazy. Helpful tip is don't keyword stuff, right? So don't just like add keywords to it just so that you can try to rank higher, right? Because Google search algorithm is getting really good, right? And so they will punish you and not like rank you anything, right? It should be very natural, right? So it should be like something like example. It would be like, if I was selling a Star Wars T-shirt, right? It would be like, um, uh, uh, a black Darth Vader for man, right? Or for a woman, right? So something like that, right? Instead of adding something like, um, you know, Star Wars Darth Vader shirt, right? Like that's just keyword stuffing, right? You don't want that. You want it to feel natural, right? So very important to just have it simple like that, right? And your description, right? You just want to keep that as well under 50 to 160, right? The next thing you want to do is add alt text description. So alt text description is a helpful way for in like any computer or AI, right, to know what it's looking at, right? So if we go to products, right, if we take this example here of this Toyota Corolla, right, we click the image. Here's where you'll be able to add the alt text, right? So I haven't added this, right? So you can use Shopify's suggestion, right, and do that. Super simple, easy, right? Or you could write your own, right? So this will just tell Google and like the computer, right, what it's looking at right now, because it needs a description, right? So it's a white Toyota car, right, on a white background, right? I could even go more detailed, right, and I could say like the model Toyota Corolla, right? And then just click save, right? So super simple, easy. Small things like this add up, right? And Google will award you by ranking higher if you're able to do alt text as well. It does take time, right, to like having to do this for every single image. So a helpful tip is that maybe before you upload to Shopify, is you could just rename the images, right, and rename them so that when you upload them, you don't have to do this again and again, right? The next thing is, so add keywords naturally to the prep, which we went through, right? You don't want to keyword stuff, right? And then improve the site speed, right? So right now, I will not be able to see the site speed, I think, because it's not live, right? So if this was live, right, I'll be able to see the site speed here. So a few ways that you could improve the site speed, right, is like make sure image files are not big, right? Video, don't add too much video, even though Shopify does support video, right? But you don't want to really add too much video onto it. And just keep and review their help articles, something very important, right? But just mostly images, right? You just want to make sure that the images are not huge files, because that could slow down the speed file of the Shopify site, right? Helpful tip is don't rely on like Google's tools when you're testing out your search speed, because Google is using data that they don't have access to, right? So what they're doing is just like using, a bunch of different sites, right? And then their algorithm is just like giving you a summary of your site speed from there. Like, so on Shopify, it might say like your site speed's like excellent, right? But then on Google, it's gonna say like your site speed needs to be improved, right? Even though Shopify is showing you that's excellent. So Shopify is showing you excellent because this is their platform, right? So they have access to your own data, right? And they're able to provide you what the actual site speed is. Google does not have access to Shopify's data, right? So they can't access that. So they're just using all the data that they have from other websites. Just something to take into account. The next thing you want to do is your site structure, right? So what does this look like? So you want to keep the store simple and make it easy to access to the product page, right? So when people are buying, right, you don't want it to be really hard to access the product, right, they're selling, right? Like if they have to, like, so when somebody arrives to my dealership car website, right, I could just go to view cars, and then right here, and they'll be able to either add the car, right? Let's pretend that they're buying this car, right? That's less than 3 clicks, right? But if yours is like, you want them to go, like you have them going through a long workflow just to reach this page, right? Then you have a higher chance of not generating the sale, right? And it's just a lot of clicks, right? And you don't want that. You want it to make it as simple as easy as possible for your customer to buy things from your Shopify store, right? The other thing is internal linking. Internal linking is super helpful to Google, just to show that first off, to keep customers inside your store a little bit longer, right? So internal linking is like something like maybe in the products page here, you have like in description, you have like a link to other models, right? Other Toyota sedan cars, right? Or maybe they want to take a look at the trucks, right? Or something like that, right? You can have it linked here. And so that just keeps the person inside, right? And so Google will like that because you're linking inside the page and they're not leaving your website, right? Because that just gives Google a signal that, you know, people are staying on the website and they want to learn more about your site. Like, it's perfectly structured, so they'll reward you for that. And then just to make sure that, you know, you're providing Google like updates that you're still active, your site's still active, right? Is make sure you add blogs, add new products, add reviews to it, because this is just sending a signal to Google that you're still active, right? So super simple that you could add blogs, right, by going to content and then blog post, right? To add products, right, you want to add products, go to products, add products, right? To add reviews, right, you could go to the theme editor and download like maybe a Shopify review app, right, and then add reviews, right? This just shows Google that you're updating your site, right, and that, you know, it's still active. So that's pretty much it on how to get your Shopify page right on front page of Google, right? I hope these steps helped, right? If you guys have any questions, please do comment down below and I'll be happy to answer any single one of them. And that's it for now, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.